as I was saying, Joy Taylor, every dog has its day. And since I'm a big dog, I've got 2 days. Okay. So now.
You just called yourself a dog?
Yeah, I'm a dog. Yeah, I'm a big dog, a big one.
Kevin Durant is 6'11", who can pull up from 40. Okay. This brother is on that level. I'm talking about offensively.
Do you think you're better than Darrelle Revis is right now?
I'm better than you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Low Down Podcast. I know it's been, I took a little bit of time off. I took about 6 weeks off due to all the commotion going on, not only in this country, but all over the world. We had the virus, we had the protesting, I mean, all kinds of chaos, it seems, for the past 6 weeks or so. Really the past year, there's been a lot of chaos since January 1st. But it is good that we're still here. I'm back. I'm back and I'm better than I was before. A lot of things changed between the last time I was on, but no need for me to explain that. I got some valuable, very valuable guests on this show. Actually, I'll call them all MVPs because they were all teammates with head coach Mike Gundy for the Oklahoma State Cowboys back in the day between years 86 through 90, 91, around that gap right there. So 4 players, as a matter of fact. I have 4 former Oklahoma State players on the show. So starting off, I'm going to introduce, well, as a matter of fact, I'll introduce all of them, and then you'll hear from them. So I have Robert Kirksey, Vernon Brown, Gerald Hudson, and Brent Parker. Those 4 on the show. They were all on offense, so they spent a lot of time with Mike Gundy on the field in practice. But since he was the quarterback, these guys were all on offense, so they already know what it's like. So starting off, I'm going to start off with Gerald Hudson. Gerald Hudson, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes. Hello. This is Gerald Hudson. It's such an honor to be able to spend time with my nephew, Mark Brown. He's doing a great job. So I'm just looking forward to just speaking about our past experience as teammates with, the fellas, my teammates.
And next up, we have Vernon Brown. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Vernon Brown, and proud to be Mark's dad. I think we were on the show once before, and I'm looking forward to reminiscing with my teammates. Played running back from 1986 through 1990.
And next up, we have Brent Parker. Brent, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Brent Parker came in 1987. Wide receiver, came in with the same class as Robert Kirksey, and got to spend a lot of good quality time with these guys on the phone right now. And I'm just glad to have the opportunity to hear them talk and reminisce a little bit.
And last but not least, we have Robert Kirksey, just like Mr. Brent Parker just mentioned. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, 87 through 91. Appreciate you having me on here, nephew. I really enjoy seeing and talking to a lot of you guys over the years. You guys are all my brothers.
All right, perfect. Now that was deep right there. Because knowing I didn't exist during that time, oh well. But here we go. So started off, I understand you guys were all teammates all at the same time. It seemed like you guys are reminiscing right now. And so first question I wanted to ask you guys, what was it like? Like, what was the overall atmosphere at Oklahoma State when you guys had Mike Gundy as your teammate? Because I wanted to basically just tie the story to Mike Gundy. What was like? So what was your overall relationship with Mike Gundy over those 4 years? Just give us feel free to give us a brief or a long explanation of how it was like. So whoever wants to jump in first, go ahead.
Yeah, for me, when I made it to Stillwater, I was in the scrub category, so I didn't have a chance to really I'd say know too much about Gundy until my junior year. That's when I was able to travel with the team. So during that scrub stage, I was just able to kind of see him from a distance, and just going through the cafeteria line when practice and everything was over. But so I didn't really get a chance to really know Gundy until I was able to travel, and when Barry left, and so that's when I really got a chance to know Mike. But Mike always treated me well. He was I noticed he was a very confident guy. He was he was real good with with the team, with his teammates. He was very funny. He always had a very good attitude. So yeah, he was just a great guy. I felt like that, just on the field and then in practice during the games and the lunchroom. I felt like he was a real good guy. He always treated you well.
All righty, that was a good explanation right there. Who else wants to jump in? Who's next?
This is Brent Parker. I got a chance to see him a little bit closer just because 1 year he roomed across the hall from me. And, a lot of what Gerald said, he kind of tried, he was a confident guy, but tried to keep the mood in the room, whether it was in the locker room, in the huddle. He tried to crack a joke or two, tried to be funny, and just and he tried to be one of the guys that didn't really seem to be kind of a hard-nosed guy, just more of a kind of lighthearted and seemed to be enjoying, the fellowship and the time we were there. We had a pretty good offense with some of these guys on this phone, but I know that Gerald was talking, he was a scrub, but don't ever let that happen. That's an NFL player right there.
Oh, that's a good one right there. I mean, if you call Gerald Hudson a scrub, that'll make me. I don't even know. I can't even think of the term for it. That'll make me like very low. I mean, that's like similar to like if you played Super Mario Brothers. It's like Mario being very little. That's pretty much that's what it makes me if Uncle Gerald's a scrub.
Oh my goodness.
I think you might need to have Gerald sing "Hail to the Vikings."
No, man. I mean, I was just trying to, be honest and humble, man. There was so many great guys on the team, so much talent, man, and like I said, I mean, I had to ride the bench and sit on the bench and, cheer for guys and, pat them on the shoulder pads and pick up some water and all that kind of stuff. So, like I said, man, it's man, like the team was loaded with skill position.
Yes.
I appreciate the humbleness, man, but I'm going to brag on you. You were behind 2 Hall of Famers, and you led the country in rushing, and the other gentleman on the phone, Mr. Vernon Brown, was a stud running back, too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was.
Nobody wanted to get
all
in
y'all, man.
Right, so
hey, Mark.
What's that?
Mark.
Well, say, man, check this out, man. Let me get mine in, too, because, because Brent Parker and Robert Kirksey was like this. I say it was like the Wes Welkers, man. They could have played for the Patriots. You know what I'm saying? Those guys right there caught everything.
Hey, we appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Mark.
And Vernon was the fastest guy in the nation coming out of high school in the '60s. So, he was a big, strong guy and smart, and all the girls on campus always wanted him. So I can't. Just a big, nice, swole guy,
Oh,
no, man, serious. No, serious though. But Vernon, Vernon and Kirksey and Brent. Hey, man, like I said, those are just world class guys, man. I think all these guys are better human beings, than they were on the field, man. Like I think that's the highest compliment that you can give a person.
Yeah,
appreciate that, man. Right back at you,
Mark.
Appreciate that, everybody on this.
Is Robert? Yeah, Gundy was a great player, great quarterback. When we first came in, me and Brent, at first, we're just going through the ropes. We're learning how to coexist with all those good players. I mean, you're coming from high school, you got to fit in, and then as you get there, you see a lot of great talent, and you just blend in with the rest of the guys. So as the years went on, we got to know him a little bit more because we interacted with him a couple years after Hartley left and some of these other good wide receivers, and it was good. I mean, he really spent time helping us if we needed help with some plays and things of that nature. And then later down the line, for me, he coached me, and it was good. I never felt like we had any major problems. I mean, I wanted the ball more like anybody else, and so he was my coach at one time, and I would go through him trying to get through the coordinator or the head coach, and then he also threw me my first college football touchdown. So I had some good experiences with him.
Oh, man, I see that's proof right there. I mean, the fact that you said you caught your first career touchdown pass with Mike Gundy, I mean, that says a lot right there. I mean, that shows that those memories do last forever. And so going off of that, what about you, Mr. Vernon Brown? What was your overall outlook on Mike Gundy?
Yeah, I'd say that and I kind of know him in a little different light than the other guys, so they knew him throughout college. And I know you asked specifically about college, but I actually played junior high ball against Mike. So that starts, 30-something years ago or 40 years ago.
Oh, my. Watch out.
One thing that stands out to me about him is that even at a young age, he had a real good knowledge of the game. And I guess that probably became more evident as he, matriculated through college. And Kirksey mentioned that he coached him. And that's pretty rare that you find somebody that's coaching, position coach, immediately after they graduate. So that kind of speaks to his knowledge of the game, the X's and O's aspect of it. But as far as a teammate and an opponent, he was, confident, obviously. Some people took that as, cockiness, and I think those are qualities that you probably want in a quarterback, right? When you go into battle, you want somebody that's going to be confident. Great kind of lighthearted, and I kind of saw that side of him as well, and that was even evident in high school. So in a nutshell, everything, was good, except for when, he beat us in high school. So my senior year in high school, they beat us. What was the score? I think it was 3-0, and they went on to win the state championship. So we got eliminated in the playoffs. But he's a competitor, and that makes him a good coach. I think that, you kind of see those traits have been on display since he's been the head coach at Oklahoma State.
I remember you told me that you did know Mike Gundy for a long time, given that you guys are from the same area and play for a rival school. So that is definitely something right there. I mean, 4 decades of knowing somebody, you can't beat that. You definitely can't beat that. So moving on to the next question. So obviously knowing that you guys all played offense with Mike Gundy, how was he like in the film room? Like in the film room, or how was he like in the locker room, practice games, the weight room, etc.? So pretty much the football environment. How was he like in those different settings?
Well, for me, I thought he was the ultimate competitor. He wanted to win. He wanted to compete hard on a high level, and that's what he was used to being at Oklahoma State. We had great offense, and we had excellent coaches. So his mentality was on the up and up. He wanted us to achieve big things. Now, when he coached me, he did a good job. He knew what he was doing. Coming from quarterback, coaching receivers, he knew how things were supposed to be. Like I said, he had great role models, and Coach Coker and Houston Nutt. So he took a lot of what they taught him, and he put it out there as a coach.
All right. Anybody else?
Yes, sir. For me, I didn't have a chance to watch that much film with him during, Monday through Thursday. But like on Friday when we traveled as a team, I think that's the only time we really watched film together as a team. So, he would always sit in the front, just taking notes and studying and just trying to, and, you could see his film study and your preparation would always transfer to the field on game day. He was always calm. He never was tight during the travel days. He would, crack jokes with you and just try to, keep everything light. But just overall, and also Gundy was, his film study also gave him the advantage of being able to, to change plays at the line of scrimmage. He would always put guys in the best position, so we can keep moving the chains. But as far as the film and everything like that, like I said, I didn't have that much film work with him, just on the travel days. But, like I said, to me, there was like a strong enough impression for me to, to know quite a bit about it on, as far as watching film.
Oh, so based off what you said, he definitely raised the bar. So how about you, Mr. Parker?
Yeah, I think, echoing with a lot of what Robert and Gerald said, but I think Peyton Manning has a great quote that kind of puts a lot of what Mike into a limelight for me. Peyton's got a quote that says, "Pressure is something you feel when you don't know what you're doing." You never had Mike in a meeting room or a situation where we're watching film or something, or even in the huddle. He never really felt like he showed he was just total pressured. He felt confident. He felt relaxed, knowing what to do. He had that kind of aura about him, and that quote kind of hit home with me thinking about this. That's Mike. Mike, he was really not a guy that was under pressure, didn't show it, and that was part of his confidence because he knew what he was doing.
Wow.
If that makes sense.
That's a pretty strong quote, man.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It really is.
And I would just echo everything that's already been said. And I actually forgot that when he was in high school, he was calling audible plays, and that was kind of unheard of at the time. You know, we were I formation, and he would check several plays. I played defense as well, and he would, get them in the right play. So,
that would be easy. It would just be check, don't run towards Vernon Brown.
Hey, man, something else I noticed too, man, that Coach Jones gave Gundy the freedom to just pretty much, just to do anything he wanted to do on the field. They didn't question his choices but yeah, I just all of a sudden I just noticed that Gundy had great freedom, man, to do whatever he wanted to do on the field because, he studied, hard.
Yeah.
And just based off of that, I mean, you guys like nothing but positive things coming out of Mike Gundy because I've only seen him. I mean, from what I've seen him as a coach. I mean, I don't remember him not coaching at all because I mean, as long as I can remember, I remember him just being the head coach. I remember when he first became the head coach for Oklahoma State, and I was only in the 4th grade at the time. But I remember going to the Oklahoma State-Texas Tech game in Stillwater. That's when Bobby Reed was the starting quarterback, and he almost ran me over. Well, actually did run me over when he ran out of bounds because I was having to watch the game from the sideline. So that's something I'll never forget. That was during Gundy's first season. But
I do remember that. Yeah.
But going off of that, I had no idea what Gundy was going to become, and then obviously he goes definitely in the history books for Oklahoma State coaching and in the history books for all college football. So moving on to the next question, would you guys say he was a great leader on and off the field? If so, explain.
Well, I feel like he was a great leader on the field. And like the guy said, he was able to audible calls and things of that nature because the coaches had a lot of confidence in him. I remember my first play going out there, big, 58,000 people out there. I go out there on the field. I forget the play. And he's like, it's okay. He just put one together. We ran the play. And sure enough, it probably to Gerald or somebody. I was like, it couldn't be no pass? Anyway. But he had a lot of leadership, and that's why he's the head coach. And I believe that over the years, you have to be able to be a good coach, have good leadership to coach a lot of young men.
Yeah, man. I mean, as far as me on the field, I can only speak to how he was on the field as a teammate. But for some strange reason, I mean, I hope this doesn't sound bad because I know he was a great student, but I never seen Mike. I had never had a chance to bump into him off the field. Because like I said, that just goes back to what I said in the beginning. I was in the scrub category where he was in the VIP from his freshman year, so I don't have no idea, how things was working for Mike off the field. I'm sure, he was getting the red carpet, but I just never had a chance to get to know him off the field. So I mean, I apologize about this answer. I don't have a lot of commentary or experiences, knowing Gundy out the field.
And Gerald, I think a lot of us are a lot like that. Majority of our experiences have been with him on the field. I lived across the hall from him one year, and he poked his head in every once in a while. It was mainly to try to play like a video game or crack some joke. But off the away from practice, away from meeting rooms, away from games, travel, stuff like that, he really kind of kept to himself, to be honest with you. He kind of liked that solitude a little bit, and he didn't really hang out with the fellas like a lot of us did, where we just get together in a dorm room or get together and go out somewhere and hung out. He really didn't. That wasn't really his nature, So it's kind of hard to say that. Obviously, I mean, Joey Witcher might be the only one that really spent a lot of quality time because he was his roommate, outside of football. If that makes sense to y'all.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm going to say, even though I've known him, played against him for years, junior high, high school, I never spent maybe one day out away from football with him. That's kind of hard to gauge, kind of what he was. But that goes along with, what Brent just mentioned.
Yeah, I couldn't. I couldn't spend no time with him because I was always with Gerald and Vernon. They locked me up in the room and they made me study all the time.
Robert, you were the wingman?
I was the wingman.
Yeah, man, but that right there, man, sounds like it kind of sounds like a deep spiritual, hey man, like a grown man type of mentality for him to be in that state of mind where he wanted peace, man. I didn't even know that until you just brought that up, Brent. That he just stayed in his room, man. I was like, I didn't have, I didn't know if he was in just going to, like going back to Dale. Not Dale City, but what was that town you lived in?
Midwest.
Yeah. I mean, I thought he was traveling home for the night, man. I didn't see him at all.
Yeah, he ended up marrying, I guess, his high school
Kristen
too.
Yeah, they were dating the whole entire time. Yeah. He might have been spending. That's probably where he might have been spending most of his time. He poked his head in the room a couple times just because we were across the hall, and just video games and stuff. And when you have roommates like Chris Lowry and Surratt and all those guys, we're all goofy. He come in and try to be goofy every once in a while, but it wasn't a whole heck of a lot of time. It was maybe a half a dozen times.
Yeah.
But that's not a whole heck of a lot to really just tell you how he is off the field. He's always been cordial to me.
Yeah.
We're not like, hey, pick up the phone and talk to each other type stuff. But if I'm down in the Stillwater, if I say something, he always says hi. So, I know he's a busy guy right now. It's hard running a college program. You're talking not $1 million programs. You're talking that NCAA is $1 billion industry, and you got to juggle all that. I know that he had kind of made me blush as like a human being one time. Because I had just moved to Houston, and Vernon had invited me to it was some kind of deal they were having in Houston, some kind of alumni meeting, and and he likes to give me about 2 minutes. Yeah, and you done? Okay. Yeah, and so we had a chance to shake hands and talk. We probably talked for about maybe 3 or 4 minutes. But he was like, "Hey, Gerald, man, you and Vernon all come back more." And I was like, "Dang, man, hey, man, like that right there kind of, kind of touched me, man. Because Mike, is such a big time coach. He's known all over the world, and so yeah, man, like I said, that he kind of made me blush as a human being to say, hey, man, what, this guy was still want us to come back. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of add that, I guess, to my off-field experience with Mike.
That was very well said right there. Anybody else have any extra thoughts about that?
I think what Gerald said is pretty good. It's kind of a shame to watch a teammate go through what he's going through right now with the T-shirt incident. But
yeah.
I don't know the whole story. Can't really talk about that. But I never experienced anything that showed any type of hatred towards anybody from him. So it's kind of a shocker to me.
Yeah. In situations like this, people, people that know his heart, they'll, be able to speak out for him. Like I said, that's something I wouldn't be able to do. I don't have, like I said, even though he didn't, I didn't see that, but like the people that has all the history with him on a day-to-day basis, man, I'm sure they'll be able to, speak up for him, and vouch for him on that, that part about that shirt, man. But like I said, he never did anything to offend me, man.
Yeah, that's another thing because knowing that you guys brought that up, that also brought me to this because he did apologize eventually. Like he had an apology and put it out on Twitter. They even had it on as a top headline on ESPN late last week, and they even talked about it on first take. Like it was Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman. They interviewed Chuba Hubbard. And Chuba Hubbard, because he's the one that started all of it, because he's the one that tweeted saying that he would not stand for what Gundy was wearing. And then, they had an apology man-to-man. They shook hands, and then that received even more backlash. Because you know how people are, especially in today's day and age. No matter what you say or do, somebody is either going to agree and somebody's always going to disagree. There's never going to be everybody supporting him or people that are not. It's the exact opposite, vice versa. So that's why,
right?
Yeah, there's a lot more to it. So that's why I don't know much about it either. But I read plenty of articles about it. But at the end of the day, it's really up to, Chuba Hubbard and the current players, some of the former players that played with them, because you guys were teammates with them, and those guys were actually they're his players because he's the coach, obviously. So he might have just had the shirt on just to have it on. Who knows? But I just feel bad that he received. It's just crazy, in my opinion, that he received all that backlash. It was pretty much on the same scale as Drew Brees. Whenever Drew Brees was upset about people kneeling for during the national anthem, as a matter of fact. So.
Right.
I just think now is the worst time because, say if this happened a year ago, if he had that shirt on, it probably wouldn't have been. Somebody probably would have disagreed with it, but I don't think it would have been as big as it is now because after what has been going on the past month, that's the reason why. So I just feel like they caught Gundy just got caught at the wrong time, honestly.
Yeah. Oh man, I tell you what, that's a great great point, Mark.
Yeah, it really is because I just can't say I don't want to side with he was wrong or he was right. I don't want to side with neither of that. I'm just trying to be neutral about it because I'm trying to actually put it into perspective because it seems like people right now are very emotional. Think about it. We have a virus going around like you guys mentioned before we started recording this. So that's one thing, and then there's just a bunch of chaos. Millions of people in America are losing their jobs. This is affecting not people in America, but all over the world. Brazil is in ruins right now. Brazil's surpassed over 1 million cases of the virus, and they're struggling right now. They're struggling all over the country from this. So that's why. And plus, you also have the George Floyd incident, and then police brutality, all the protesting. You had the Democrats and the Republicans fighting each other right now, debating like they always do. So. I just think that was a really, really just bad timing on Mike Gundy's end for sure. And then it just, all of his players, especially players of color, are going to be emotional about that. So they just want to make sure they check their coach, because he's supposed to be leading their team and guiding them to, to wins, right? They want to have a winning record. They want to win the Big 12. That's their main goal, is to win the Big 12 and hey, maybe a national championship this year. So that's why.
Yes, sir.
That's why it was actually important. That Chuba Hubbard actually spoke up because he has a platform, right? So that's why that was able to have other players and potential recruits coming into Oklahoma State see how they actually feel, and then honestly, that's going to be a bad look, in my opinion, for recruiting for now on Gundy's end, knowing that players of color are going to say, because when you're in high school, you don't really know much about politics unless you're one of those guys that were in speech and debate. No disrespect to those guys, but
right.
So that's why I just feel that it was crucial for both sides to apologize and speak up on it, because you got players all over the country protesting right now. But that's a whole different story. But that leads me to the next question. Going off what you said, Mr. Gerald, Mr. Kirksey, Mr. Vernon Brown, and Mr. Brent Parker, you guys mentioned how Gundy was pretty much, a positive way to explain it was that he was pretty much, a celebrity from start to finish during his tenure at Oklahoma State. So just going off of that, he obviously built a good rapport with the coaches. So how did he treat Pat Jones, or how did he treat, the coaching staff? And obviously, you guys already know how he treated you guys, but how did he treat the coaching staff and stuff like that?
Well, man, from what I saw, Gundy was so well respected by the coaches, man. It was like he was a coach / player.
Same thing.
So
yeah.
to me, man, they had more of it was more like a peer type thing. His peers. I hope I'm not getting off track, but that's the way I saw it. Because like I said, he just had, he had gained everything he earned by, gaining the freedom just to do what he wanted to do on the field, and and call plays, but they didn't. I mean, that's the way I saw it, man. I mean, it was like he was a player / coach.
Yeah, I felt like as the quarterback of the team, you're getting all your information from the coaches. Then you give it out to the rest of your team. And he did a really good job of that. And that's why he was able to become a coach after that and take those skills and lead a lot of lead the receivers, lead the offense. He became a coordinator, went off to another school, did that a couple years. And then he came back as the head coach. Now, he knew everybody around Oklahoma State, which was a good thing. That's family. That's family for all of us. So that made it very important. We were very happy that he got that job because we knew this guy. You know what I mean? Now, as him being the head coach, he's one of our brothers. We played with him. He coached me. I like to feel a lot better about going back to Oklahoma State, feeling more comfortable, being there 5 years once you're redshirting. I like to be able to talk to him. I like to be able to go in the facility, see the weight room, hang out with some of the coaches, and sometimes it just feels a little foreign at times. I mean, I play with this guy. I want you to talk to me when I get there. I want to be able to, I really feel like they need to do a better job with their alumni players that play next to you. I don't want to feel distant when I come back. You know what I mean? There was a time we had an anniversary, a game, was it the 88 season, where all the players came back. We went into our little meeting room. You guys remember where we met at, had all our team meetings?
Yep.
That'd be a great place for all the former players to go to, feel comfortable. I mean, these coaches make a lot of money. They get the shoe contracts, all that kind of stuff. Boy, you should be able to get back to your players you played with, the teammates that played together. I don't know who's going to pay for it. The coach can pay for it. He's getting a whole lot of money, and that's a tax write-off for him. You know what I mean? We really got to make it a brotherhood. When you come to Oklahoma State, feel comfortable about it. I've talked to OU people, Penn State people, Alabama people. I mean, they're not paying for stuff. They're getting in all the games they want to go to. I mean, we can't make all the games, but you want to really feel like family.
I think, going back to kind of I echo a lot of what everybody's saying right here, but going back to the time we were there, I mean, one of the reasons why I came to Oklahoma State is, we were spoiled with this coaching staff. I mean, they made you feel like family. It doesn't matter if you were offense or defense. I mean, Coach Garner was a tight end coach, and he didn't coach me, but he treated me with nothing but respect. And defensive coaches, you had Coach Pope, you had Coach Campbell, Coach Wallstead. I mean, they all made you feel comfortable. You had Gerald and Vernon probably had one of the funniest coaches we have, and Coach Shimmick on there. You just never know what the man was going to say, but he treated everybody great. It didn't make you. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I chose Oklahoma State, coming from California, and Mike's relationship with those coaches that you see from the side is kind of. I mean, the coaches made it a lot easier. That it was. I mean, it was lighthearted sometimes. We would have our serious moments, but it was lighthearted, and they treated you well for the most part. I mean, that was my experience. I mean, I still to this day, I talk to Pat Jones and Houston Nutt and Larry Coker on the phone. I probably talked to Coach Nutt the most because he was my position coach. But those dudes are. I mean, those are guys that are my mentors, and the reason why I got into coaching high school football. And I've kept in touch with these guys on the phone. I mean, Vernon and I lived a couple blocks away from each other. Mark, when you were born, we had family time together. We had dinner and shared times. And I mean, you went to Austin's birthday. I mean, that's kind of the family atmosphere. I think that for me during that time, that's what I experienced. And what Robert said now, as a former player, it does seem a little hands off a little bit, extended, where you're not quite. I mean, hey, we want you to come up here and be there, but stay in your little section.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Ooh.
It's not funny. I'm just laughing the way you explained it.
I'm just kind of being. I mean, that's kind of the way it is. I mean, I've been doing some training and stuff when I was down in Texas, and I could walk into other programs and feel a little bit more welcome that time. But I'm kind of, saying what Robert was saying a little bit. But I've never been treated bad by Mike.
No.
I mean, that's good to hear. That's great to hear, as a matter of fact. But did you have any thoughts? Did you have any thoughts about that, Mr. Vernon Brown?
No, I think that everything that I was thinking has already been said. But one thing, I do think that he was treated, like a peer because of his knowledge of the game, right? He kind of grasped it early. That's kind of why he was thrust in that position as a freshman, right? So he, now that, Gerald mentioned that, I can see that it was more like a peer relationship. But to echo kind of what Brent said about the coaching staff that we had then. So you think about Coach Shimmick, it was comedy coming to practice every day, just joking around and stuff like that. I don't know if that atmosphere exists now. I don't know any of the other positions that are there, but I'd imagine the program is probably a lot bigger. There's a bigger microscope now too because they're on TV. So
yes, social media. Yes, and I feel like the coaches we had, our position coaches, they like Brent and Gerald and the guys have talked about. They reached out to other positions. They got to know us all, and then they a lot of those guys went off to be great head coaches, leader of men. Now, with Mike's program, Gerald, Vernon, myself, we're black guys. Brent acts like a black guy sometimes. Anyway.
I was about to say, you're going to leave me out?
Hey, no, I ain't going to leave y'all. You my brother, baby. You my brother. Anyway, we had a family feel. I could never remember anybody on the field. It was never a black and white thing. So it always felt like family. And, with the times right now, with all the with everything that's happening, protests and anything, I would feel like as a team, you do things together. Now, it's a lot of injustice. You got a lot of African-American ball players out there. But if we protest over police brutality or anything, I felt like all my white guy brothers would walk with me. You know what I mean? I never had that problem or that feeling that they wouldn't. The coaching staff, I felt like they would. I felt like Mike would. He was part of the team, that kind of thing. So a lot of the stuff that's going on, it's more political. It's the time right now, and we gotta be able to fight through this and come together as a family. The players have to feel like family. I mean, are there enough black mentors coaching? Does he feel comfortable that he can go to that running back can go to and talk to somebody about this issue without feeling like, he's a big time player now, a player that wasn't that big time. I don't know, it may have not worked out the same way, but a kid on a platform like that, sometimes coaches need to be checked too. You're getting all the money. No one's telling you you're doing nothing wrong. Sometimes you need to be checked too and be conscious of the surroundings. I'm really surprised. Mike, he's got to be conscious of. He's taking care of a lot of athletes, a lot of them black athletes, and you really got to be woke on how to deal with these kids and their families. And I'm not saying he doesn't, but sometimes you forget who you're dealing with, and you got to be conscious of that.
Exactly. I understand that completely, but I know you guys have a time crunch, so I don't want to keep you guys on too long. So I was going to ask you guys this: would you guys like to express any last minute thoughts, any additional information about your relationship with Mike Gundy over the years before we end this call?
I think we're all trying to jump in at one time, right? I'll share something with you. I'll tell you that, my experience at Oklahoma State was I had the greatest of times and one of the lowest times. One incident in the game that people know me for, but I will tell you that it don't matter what color of one of my teammates. I felt love from them, and hopefully they felt love from me, and I still love them today and consider them a family. And Mike's a part of that. And, if he needs support from his teammate, I'll reach out, but we'll make sure that we're correcting and rebuking in love and patience to try to make sure that we are well aware and educated on how we deal with one another, because I don't really have ever felt hate from one of my teammates ever. I mean, they might have had some disagreements with me or anything, but as far as just hate and respect and love as a teammate, my heart's full.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that too, and it's unfortunate the times that we're living in now. I think having these types of discussions, maybe not necessarily on air, but if every team could kind of, because I think a lot of times it's just misunderstanding on both sides. If everybody could sit down and kind of discuss issues like that, we'd be a lot closer as a society. And I think teams nowadays will probably be a lot closer as well. But now the time constraints and the pressure to win, right, that may truncate some of the opportunities that the coaches have to actually, sit down and talk and kind of get a feel for where they are. But
yeah, I going off of what you said, man, I agree 100%. I think some of it is just the way we try to compartmentalize things and make things divided instead of making it united. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We try to do things, and we need to do things as teammates in college. I think we developed an understanding and respect for one another because we work together. We directly, and so we have it, and then we go away and we start from sports. And we start compartmentalizing things. We go to this neighborhood because we feel comfortable there, and they go to this neighborhood because they feel comfortable there. And then we make this, this based off of a certain culture or this off of a certain religion. And we instead of trying to make it one brotherhood, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. We look at more things that are different and use that to separate instead of more the commonalities, which we have more in common than we do different, even if,
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. And as a head coach, you're going to be a head coach one day, Brent. I've been a head coach in different things of that nature. And Gerald, you've been a leader of many things, and Vernon, you have. You gotta talk to your staff. You gotta, as head coaches at Oklahoma State. We knew Pat Jones. We didn't know him as well as we knew Coach Nutt or our position coaches. You got to be able to communicate with your players. They got to feel comfortable. You know what I mean?
If you can,
all our high school coaches were like in awe of us. We did anything we wanted, but they knew us really well. So with these colleges, I mean, it's so, what do you call it? Corporate. And we as a former player, we all need to fight against some of this NCAA stuff. They're making a whole lot of money, and yeah, we're getting school paid for and that kind of thing. But it's a lot more to it. We played with Barry Sanders. His jersey's getting sold and making a lot of money on that. But he's driving a car that broke down. He couldn't get it fixed. He didn't have no money. So it's a lot more to all of this. That's the same thing with a lot of issues that we have out here in society today.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. I tell you, man. Yeah, man. I tell you, I think in the time and season that we're living in right now, man, I think, to me, this is a book that I would recommend to all the coaches that's coaching players that, grew up in like different neighborhoods and everything like that, man. I tell you, hey, check this out. I think this book right here, man, would be a great book for all all the coaches to get and read, to figure out why these guys are so sensitive, to things that's going on in the world. But it's this book. This book is called The Black Tax. It talks about the cost of being black in America. And so this book goes into all the different things that you have to go through as a black person on a daily basis. Having to pay a tax when you go to to see doctors. I mean, not getting the same treatment. Getting charged for more for housing and finances, and it just gives all the examples of what people have to go through as an African American. So the book is not a racial book. It's just kind of giving people light of the price you have to pay to be black, and the book is called The Black Tax, and it breaks down everything about what like African Americans have to go through on a daily basis from the time from slavery, from Jim Crow all the way through redlining and Homestead Act. I mean, it just talks about all this stuff. So the book, because and so the reason why I brought this book up is because like a lot of people has gone into conversations, like a lot of people of different races has been calling their black friends saying, hey man, look, I mean, these things are going on in the world today, man. Can you kind of share with me? So the reason why I brought this book up is because like a lot of powerful people are calling on black friends to share, like what's going on. Because I mean, if you didn't grow up black, I mean, it's kind of hard to know what's going on. So, hey man, so this book, man, is a very, like a very powerful book. So like I said, just to end it, man, I would highly recommend this to all the universities, man, across the nation, man, to purchase this book and read it, man, because that would, that would help all of us out. I mean, white teammates, black teammates, Hispanic teammates, Indian teammates, and just life in general.
Right.
All right. Did you have any last minute thoughts, Mr. Vernon Brown, or was that good for you?
But no, one thing I thought about though, somebody touched on how the coaches that we had were real good about making us feel like family. Now, Gerald and I coach Shimmick. He was more comedy, right? But I know, I think Kirksey, you and Brent, y'all had nuts. I think he was the best at reaching out and, it's almost like he was an advocate for you, right? He was your coach.
Yes.
Hey, Vernon, we haven't played in 30 years, right? And he still reaches out to us. I know. I talked to him. I know Robert's talked to him because I talked to Coach Nutt about it. That's just the way they are. I mean, even Pat Jones has reached out and talked. Now I'm back in Oklahoma. He's on the radio, stuff like that. I get to hear from him a little bit more. But it was a pretty special time at O State, and I'm just happy to be your all teammates.
Oh yeah, exactly. Same here, man. I mean, you're talking about brothers for life.
Yes,
that's right. You got it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's why we call Uncle. We uncle to one of them kids that's doing things. Mark Brown, we're proud of you, man.
I appreciate it. So I guess that'll definitely – see, that's a great way to end this. That's a great way to end this episode. So for those that are listening, I'm going to have this out. By the way, I'll have this episode out. Right now we're recording on June 25th, 2020. It is currently 7:34 p.m., so I'll have this out tomorrow between 10 a.m. to noon, so around that time. And, I'll definitely send it out to, obviously, the people I'm speaking to right now, and I'll have it out on social media. And there's going to be more parts to this episode. This is part one about the Mike Gundy experience. I guess I don't even have a title for it yet, but that's gonna be the default title for now. But again, I just want to say give a special thanks to Robert Kirksey, Gerald Hudson, Brent Parker, and Vernon Brown for taking time out of the day to join this podcast. I know I haven't done it in a while, but it feels good to be back, and this is definitely giving it the punch right here in a good way. So I'm just glad that all four of you guys were able to do this.
Thank you.
Hey, Mark. Hey, look here. Hey, Mark, look here, man. I just want to let you know, man. And I'm not being, I'm like real serious when I say this, man. But you have a great future ahead of you, man. And I just really, appreciate the way that you conducted the interview, man. I mean, you're only 24, man, but I can tell that you've been doing your studying in private, man. Because like in the Bible, man, God says, what you do in private, hey man, he's gonna bless you openly, man. So I can tell that that you're bearing the fruit, man, for what you're doing in private, man. So hey man, just keep doing what you're doing.
We'll do. Yes, sir.
All right.
I couldn't thank you more than that. Well, actually,
Yes,
that didn't
sir.
come all right. I couldn't thank you enough. How about that?
Yeah.
But once again, it was just a complete honor having all four of you guys on the show. And then this is not going to be a one-time deal. I've had Gerald Hudson and Vernon Brown back in late November, early December. So I mean, and Mr. Brent Parker and Mr. Kirksey. I mean, this ain't the only time. So definitely, I'm gonna try to see if I can keep this podcast probably for the rest of my life. I mean, no matter how far I go, I'm gonna keep it.
There you go. That's a good idea.
Yes, sir.